take it. Got it! Boston wins! Two legends in basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast. NBA, some college, a little bit of everything.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make great decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this basketball season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Bob Ryan, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. All right. So, but I know you're going to pay homage to me because of Pritchard, and you're going to tell me I'm right about something. Of course, I don't remember it. However, I would like to go back to the Philadelphia game because I haven't talked to you since then. And just give me your thoughts on that, because I was extremely frustrated at the end of that game, and I thought it was very telling.
It's symptomatic of who they are, which is
I know.
They're Jekyll and Hyde. First time I used that reference, I keep saying they're a work in progress, and I did say that there's going to be nights such as we saw the following night when they are going to be very good and a nice team and fun to watch and everything that goes with it. And it's going to be exasperating nights. We had complete juxtaposition in two games. And now, granted, the victory over Memphis is tainted by the fact that they were missing not one, not two, not three, but four starters. So, but the Celtics played well. They did good things, and one person in particular we're going to talk about. But that's all. I mean, I'm not overreacting. I'm trying not to overreact either way.
No, I understand. The frustrating part about the Sixers game is that we saw players make dumb plays that are not dumb players. You know, the final shot, losing composure. White has to hoist a three. Jaylen Brown doesn't box out his man, and that proves to be the game-winning shot. Those things drive me crazy because that game was winnable.
Well, it was winnable. It was highly winnable. They lost two or three that were winnable. And now, interesting, all three games the Sixers have decided by 2 or 1 point, right? And it's interesting. But you're right, and that is frustrating, and I can't argue with that. And now the last play, I guess we got to give Drummond credit. He knocked the ball away, and White was forced into a desperation. We'll never know. That was, but I was angry that the go-ahead basket was a putback, easy, nobody near him. That wasn't good, and you can't have that. I don't know when I will reach my point of exasperation. You appear to have reached it earlier than I have. Okay, seriously, I was heartened by what I saw the next night, a wire to wire, just and highlight in the highlight. Granted, Memphis is right now, as they are, they're one of the three worst teams in the league.
We'll take it. Listen, we'll take it. So let's move to the Memphis. Let's stick to the positive. I made a prediction.
You made an observation that it will take that what Pritchard is doing is trying to change his entire nature from being an off-the-ball shooter into a floor general who also has to score. And it's an awesome responsibility that he has never had before in his NBA career. And it's asking a lot. And he then turns out 24 hours later, or 36, whatever, and plays a wonderful game, which includes 9 assists to go with his 24 points, and he made his patented shots. And that was now he's not going to play like that every night.
Of course,
no, he's not. But this shows you what he could do. And maybe he showed himself what he could do. But this was Isaiah Thomas kind of game. He's doing everything that the
right.
This was I won't even say Stockton, but I think Isaiah is a good example of So Chris Paul in his prime kind of game, and so he's capable of it. And granted, the opponent could be better, but I have great faith in this young man, and I think he's going to turn out to be just fine doing what he's doing.
First of all, I was very astute in my comment.
It was a good observation.
I think that it's a big ask. It's a huge ask. I think it borders on unfair. And obviously he has to play. He has to play the schedule. He has to do the job. A lot of people are obviously uncomfortable because Tatum's not around.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. Um, I will not be frustrated with Pritchard because of this. I get frustrated when people don't box out, when their shot selection is lazy, but I cannot get upset with Peyton Pritchard because this is a huge ask.
Yeah, right. Well, he got player of the game level,
Okay.
4 stars.
Bob, I wonder, in your experience in covering, when you've talked to a lot of these players, does the offense come easier if you're thinking pass first and then you just take what's given to you offensively?
I just think that everyone's a different individual. That's all. I think that as a point guard, as Bob Cousy has told me and others, I'm sure that his idea of a point guard, you're a point guard, and as a point guard, you should be thinking as you cross midcourt, you've got to be thinking pass first, shoot second. That's a true point guard, as defined by the godfather of all modern point. It all began with him, Tricky Dick McGuire, and a couple of others, Bobby Wanzer. But there was a group of guys that came out of the 40s. The game was making a little evolution, and Cousy was in the forefront of it, and that's a point guard. So I think Pritchard right now is in that mindset. He's learning to be in that mindset. Take the offense as it comes, his own individual offense, as it comes. But your job is, as Cousy said, to pass out the sugar. That's what Cousy's, and that's your job. That's your number one job. It's like a baseball. If a catcher can really hit, that's wonderful, but that's not his job.
Right.
He's got other responsibilities. And, great. Well, it's kind of true with a point guard too. And not everybody can resign themselves to that in that position. And Pritchard spent, I don't know how he played at Oregon. I saw him, but I wasn't looking at it from that viewpoint. I thought of him as a scorer. And I don't even know if they had a true point guard at Oregon, and he was getting away with his. I don't know. All I know is he's got to do it under a microscope now, and I have faith that he's going to do it.
Is he quick enough?
He's quick enough because he's tough. He's dogged. He moves his feet. He'll sacrifice his body a little bit. That'll make up for something. I mean, defense is still, do you want to? It's number one, no matter what physical attributes you have, and it certainly helps to have quickness. Do you want to? By the way, I just realized something just flashed into my mind is when I became about the defense and the quickness. I remember a game when D. Brown was a rookie and he got assigned to Isaiah Thomas, and I remember watching Isaiah Thomas trying to get around him and he couldn't, and I went, "Whoa, we got something here." Okay, that's nice if you got that. No, Pritchard doesn't have that, but he'll find a way to get that body and bother somebody. He's resourceful. That's why I say, and I'm sure Eddie House doesn't know who the other half of the comparison is, that he's a cross between Larry Siegfried, that part of him, and Eddie House with the shooter. And, I keep forgetting if Eddie House is available to opine on this subject, of course. But anyway, Pritchard, he's in the category, as you want, making the absolute most of what he was given physically.
There's no doubt.
Making an absolute. This is a tiny Larry Bird. He's making the most of what God gave him, and that is what he's doing.
They got to take a break in the action, and we want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this basketball season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Let's go with the old guys this week. Kevin Durant. He has still got plenty of game left in that 37-year-old body. More or less 25 points. That's a tough call. 25 points is still a lot, especially for a guy of that age, but He's Kevin Durant, right? Just bet more or less on Prize Picks. Steph, more or less than 7 threes. When it comes to threes, I probably always go more with Steph, but don't take my advice. Make your own call on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a simple way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. And if you get your pick right, you could cash in and win. And now Prize Picks offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more? I just mentioned Steph Curry. Steph Curry's points, 3-pointers and assists. Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup. Points, 3-pointers, and assists, only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineup in just 1 click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone who picks like you, or someone who has picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed Fab on Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now we're going to move to a topic.
Let me just finish
Yeah.
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
What we're looking at is a fascinating thing that is a lab experiment. Joe Mazzulla is mixing and matching as much as any Celtic coach I ever remember. Guys are going from, we got Jordan Walsh goes from DNPs to start in about 2 games. Okay. Boucher has disappeared for the most part, although he made a cameo the other night, all these guys, Garza comes and goes, and I like Garza. I still think he's going to be able to make a contribution along the way in offense and rebounding that it's going to equate to the degree of what Cornette was able to do for them. Minot's had his ups and downs. Gonzalez has had his ups and downs. Walsh has now had his ups and downs. Simons is easing. We're looking at, that guy can score. We knew that, but how he's going to use it. But I'm playing, Joe's got to mix and match all these guys every single night. You do not know what 5 are going to be on that floor when the fourth quarter comes. You don't know.
Bob, you rattled off about 6 or 7 names. I don't think they've been in a situation like that since A.C. Earl was on the team.
No, they haven't. It's been a long time. We got so used to stability.
Well, and that's true. There are no answers. I mean, he's looking for a combination. It's a tough call.
The ideal team, in my mind, the coach in the NBA, historically, okay? Everybody knows who the 5 starters are, okay? Ideally, you got a 2-position guy that can help you as a 6th man, ideally.
Right.
2-position, whether it's guard forward or forward center. Okay. Right. And then you've got a guy who's a specialist in something, whether he's a shooter or defender, rebounder, he's a specialist. So now we're up to 7. And then 1 more guy who can play in the league. You don't need more than that as a rule. Playoffs come, they really tighten it up anyway. That's the easiest team to coach.
Right.
The hardest team to coach is the one Joe Mazzulla has.
It is.
He's got all these equal talented but not great players. I think you can make a case they all belong in the NBA, but where? And together, it's very difficult.
I mean, I'm not afraid to say it, with the exception of, I forgot the veteran they got in the deal who's played well. You just mentioned his name.
Simons. No?
Was it?
Garza? No. Who? They don't have a veteran.
Oh, shoot. Well, anyway, so I forgot. They're really, at this point, to me, they all seem to be guys that are 8, 9, 10 guys.
Well, guess what? I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And
okay.
Now, we got young guys who might improve. Gonzalez.
Anthony was the guy. The other guy.
Gonzalez is 20 years old. And they weren't even sure he'd have any role at all. And they found out, oh, my God, he can defend. And the one thing usually you can't get out of a 20-year-old in the NBA is,
right.
Oh, this guy, this is going to be his calling card. This is going to be his passport, apparently, for a career.
Right.
Okay. Why not? I told you, Brad Stevens told me, keep your eye on him. He's shown some flashes. I'm telling Garza is showing us that he belongs in the league. Now Boucher is 32 years old. He's on the downside. Tillman has been X'd out. He got DMP'd. And one more guy that you don't know, he's young. And there was a reason why they drafted him, and occasionally you see it. And that's Shireman. don't. I mean, he may have a
Oh,
future.
right.
He may have a future in this league, but this is all of them. But you don't need if you got 5 or 6 of them. You don't have
It's hard.
a coaching dilemma, and Joe has to push different buttons every night and hope.
Well, I think that people who maybe are on the surface watching the Celtics, their opinion is, well, when Tatum comes back, that's one guy, but they still haven't filled the void left by Holiday and
They lost
Porzingis.
so much. I've never, in Celtic experience, we've never had a thing like this happen. A team that was one of the elite teams in the league and had to lose 4, well, there were 3 for sure, totally primary people, and one of them through injury, and 2 others through a new CBA situation, which is untenable, namely Porzingis and Holiday. So, they were going to lose those guys anyway. People have to understand this, even if they win the championship. Not Tatum, but the Esther. Okay. This is a difficult team for Joe. So when people are going to, I'm going to really give Joe lots of slack this year because this is not an easy team to coach. They got 3 guys to rely on, and you need a lot more than that, for true success. They only got 3 guys right now without Tatum. They got 3. They got Brown, they got White, and I'll put Pritchard in that category. And that's it. And everything else is, oh my God, we'll see what happens.
Now moving on.
Okay, moving on.
It's definitely a challenge. No, there's no doubt it's a challenge. A topic that I really have no interest in, but you have been very good in following it. It's the all-star format.
I'm very, angry that it has come to this. And I'm very angry.
I've thrown up the white flag.
Very angry that it's come to this. And the only reason it's come to this is the players are, well, they're I don't know. I don't know a word to use. The players have created a situation. They don't want to play a real game.
Right.
They don't want to play a real game. This new crop of stars don't want to play. Not enough of them. So the games became total farces. 3 points and layup drills and 200 points. Oh my God, joke. So I'm glad you couldn't. I wouldn't watch. I stopped watching 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, so they came up with a format, and last year's didn't work. Now they're doing one thing that had to be done, and I think that if you're going to have any interest whatsoever, have it international. Go Olympics. Go World Championship. Have some competition of the Americans versus the
Us against them.
So what we have, folks, if you haven't been paying attention, I don't blame you if you haven't. Don't worry. Is that they now will have 3 teams of 8 players, 2 domestic and 1 international. And the 3 teams will play a round robin, 12-minute games. And the 2 best to come out of it will play in the final game. And if they need a tiebreaker, it will be on point differential. Okay. And if teams will be selected on the basis of vote. I don't want to get into the voting, the fan vote, and the coach vote. But not that I'm surprised, but it's just so telling. Forget about centers. They're going to go for 2 guards and 3 front court. Centers don't exist now, as a rule. The species has been extinct. Has been rendered extinct. And here's another. Get this one. If through the selection process as they've set it up, they don't come up with 16 U.S. and 8 internationals, the commissioner will select them.
Oh, God.
All right. Am I going to watch? Only because it doesn't include the internationals, which is going to lead me to one final thing on this topic, okay? We have reached a point, and there was a wonderful piece by John Hollinger in The Athletic the other day. Now, keep in mind, John Hollinger is a front office guy who has become a writer, okay, flipping it around. And he's a big basketball guru for The Atlantic. And he's got credentials because he actually was a GM in this league, or at least he was a personnel guy. And he's huge on analytics. He's a modern guy, But by the metrics that are important to people, player sufficiency rating, PER, which I don't understand how they get it, but, the 4 best players in the league are all international. And there's a huge gap between 4 and 5 in the numerical computation of the rating. Yeah, you know who they are.
Well, it's probably, the Freak in LA, Denver, Milwaukee.
Yeah, right. And SGA. who's a Canadian.
I keep forgetting he's Canadian.
Most people don't realize
Right.
he's a Canadian,
Right.
but he is. He's a citizen of our, of the president's would-be 51st state.
Yeah.
Okay. So, my question du jour, my fun topic for who's the best American now? Who would you say is the reigning American?
Tatum.
He's a candidate. I think, believe it or not, 37-year-old Kevin Durant can still make a case.
Well, I was going to say, do you go Kevin? Do you go?
And then you still got LeBron, who's 40. I'm not going to say it's not LeBron,
Right.
but anyway, that's an interesting little drop off. And healthy Tatum may be, but think about that one, folks.
Right.
This is where we are. And what does this speak to? Well, the globalization of the league, and thank you very much, David Stern.
But where's the talent in America? What's happening?
And the talent.
Let me ask, hey, how about this for a thought? The European game has always been more fundamental oriented than the American game. And, when it comes to AAU, you have some good coaches and you have some bad coaches who destroy the game.
Right.
Are the youth not being properly coached?
Oh, no question that this is a problem. And 1 year in college and on they come, and then they're not easy to coach. They haven't, and they weren't coached well. They abandoned high school to go to some phony prep school, I mean, it's just, this is what goes on. This is the talent
training, the training and the growth.
The nature of the talent pool is vastly different. The only circumstance, they were born in America, but the way they are raised in the world of basketball is so different than 50, 40, 30, 20 years ago. No question. Right. And they're not as well trained as they should be.
Well, fundamentally, they're flawed.
Okay, so so it takes longer for them to develop. But meanwhile, and once upon a time, the Europeans would have to come here to get schooled. Well, guess what? Only one of those four guys played basketball and played college ball. So there you go.
Of the four people that you just mentioned, do you consider any of them a ball hog?
Well, given that Jokic is leading the league in assists, it ain't him. A second center. He wouldn't be the first center. Wilt led the league in assists twice.
Right, but and we've talked about it.
Not him. No, I don't think so.
But that's the point. Like, okay, so then if you go, say, let's go. You've got Durant, but say you went with Anthony Edwards.
Well, he's one of the two or three best Americans, I guess.
He shoots.
Yeah.
He just shoots.
Doncic is ball dominant, but he still gets assists from it.
Well, that's the point. My point is with all four of those players that you mentioned, obviously, like if you have the Greek freak, right? I mean, he's a big man. He's going to be down low, but he's a fundamentally sound player.
Oh, he can face we know he's become an issue because it's taken more and more. People are taking more and more note of the license he has to travel.
The Europeans are coached better.
Well, they practice. They don't just go out and play. The AAU people play 1 million games, and they don't practice the much they do in Europe. And in Europe, it's more about practice.
I've seen AAU games, and they're kids, but I've seen AAU games. The kids are tremendous. All fast break, back and forth. All fast break. I don't know if defensively they can't keep up, or if that's the way they want to play the game. But the half court set, some kids struggle with.
That's all about athleticism, and athleticism is in this generation is spectacular. I mean, the raw defining athleticism is running and jumping. It is extraordinary, and lateral movement is extraordinary. Yeah, it is. But learning how to play the game of basketball, that's no other matter.
Now, I will also say though, I think the skill level is better than ever. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I mean, I think the handle is there. I think young players are ambidextrous. I think they can shoot the three. They can go to the basket. I mean, the talent is all there. Yeah. It's just the approach to the game and how the game is taught cerebrally, or how the game is taught mentally from a young age.
Absolutely. You're right. And that's why I'm including that under the heading of athleticism, Yeah, exactly. We're on the same page with this. No
Yeah, yeah. I
question.
mean, it's not just
Talent
about
level
right.
the raw talent level is as good as it's ever been, but the basketball sophistication is nowhere near what it should be or what it was, say even 20, let alone 50, 40 years ago.
Right.
I still say you want to learn how to play basketball, all you should do is rerun films of many of the playoff games of the 80s. That's what was basketball, the marriage of talent and skill and how to play for so
I
many.
mean, look, I love the Celtics, and obviously they were pass first, but Magic and that Laker offense.
Oh, please. And Detroit, the way Detroit won. And, they scored more, they averaged over on like 100, well over 100 points. They played the game properly. Okay. So I think we don't want to beat this any further.
We've hammered that. These
We don't
two
want to
guys
beat
have
that any
hammered that into
further.
the ground.
I just have to see what my mood is the day of that All-Star game. Or those
Oh,
other
no way,
All-Star
not a
games.
chance.
And
I'm
I'll
busy.
be rooting for the internationals. I know that. So
I'm busy. So feel organized and confident. That's right. If you're organized, it leads to being confident in your finances with Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. And for right now, our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year with code HOOPS at monarchs.com. So they do all the heavy lifting for you, because I know for me financially, I have a hard time keeping everything together. You've got 401ks and IRAs, and maybe you have a 401k you forgot from another job that you had a while back, and you got some money in it. Then you've got your mutual funds. So you can take all of your financial information, you put it into one toolkit. So you get what's going in, what's going out. It's really simple to know. So you won't leave any money on the table. You can track every dollar. Okay, so you don't want to ignore your finances. Nothing is going to slip through the cracks with Monarch. Okay, so don't let financial opportunity slip through those cracks. As I said, use code HOOPS at monarch.com in your browser for half off the first year. That's 50% off the first year at monarch.com with the code HOOPS.
okay.
You want to pay homage to a couple of folks. First of all,
Yeah, we had
Richardson.
another sad departure of a very interesting figure in recent NBA history, Michael Ray Richardson, and he died at age 70 of I believe cancer. And Michael Ray was a highly talented, flamboyant character, and I had forgotten, exactly how at his peak how effective he was. Did you know he led the league in steals 3 times?
No.
And he led an assist once, averaged 20 points a game once for the Knicks. And he was a, well, he was like people, they would compare him. Some did, not I never did, but to the next thing closest to Magic in terms of a big guy can handle the ball and run the show. Of course, he was paired up with Ray Williams, which was an interesting duo. But Michael Ray was character, and of course he'll live on in New York and forever for one interview that he gave. Oh yeah, and the Knicks were floundering at the time, and someone asked him after a game about the state of the team, and he said, "The ship be sinking." and that if you run that by any New York fan of the era or any writer, the first thing they're going to think about with Michael Ray Richardson is the ship be sinking. And he was right, by the way. Now, I tell you, when he peaked, he had 1 year at Golden State, didn't move. He went to the Nets. And in 1984, and I had just gotten back on the beat, and it was my first beat after I had come back to the Globe full time after my stint with Channel 5. And my first thing that I did was cover the Knicks and the Pistons 5-game series. Still the best 5-game series I've ever seen. One of the great playoff series ever. The level of competition with Isaiah Thomas at his peak, Bernard King at his peak. That was at Knicks in 84. But prior to that, I saw them 76. Concurrent with the 76ers were the defending champion, and they lost to the Nets. And the number one player for the Nets who played and kicked their butt was Michael Ray Richardson.
Right.
He had a great series. He could really play at that time. Well, Michael Ray was also famous because he changed the spelling of his name for reasons unknown. And then He changed from the birth certificate, AEL, to EAL, and then he changed it back later on, Well, Michael Ray, of course, ran afoul in 1986 on his third cocaine charge, and they banned him from the league. And he went to Europe, and they unbanned him in 1988. They rescinded and he said, "Screw this, I'm staying." He played 14 more years in Europe.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a number of countries. And people, sometimes there would be exhibitions and people would find, oh my God, Michael Ray's on that team from in Milan or wherever the hell, Then he wound up having a coaching career in the CBA and cleaned himself up and very much he got sober and he got clean and he lived a nice exemplary life after that. And made up, but he was one of those guys. He flashed as like a comet in the sky in the league, and I had just forgotten exactly how effective he was. I didn't realize he led the league in steals 3 times. I knew he had led the league in assists once. So Michael Ray has passed away at age 70. Now, one more thing before we go, and I'm deviating from basketball and everything, but he's an important person in my profession because he was at the pinnacle of it in his world. When the history will record the great hockey writers in the history of American journalism, it's going to have very much at the top Larry Brooks of the New York Post, who passed away either yesterday or the day before at age 75. And the Post, to its credit, is running a magnificent tribute to Larry Brooks today. 3 or 4 articles from people. And one of the most interesting things, the ones I read, the number of tributes that came in from players and executives who respected his approach, his knowledge,
right,
everything, his honesty, his writing, the whole package. And I know this. My 2 hockey sources of information, guru, are my friend Kevin Paul Dupont of the Globe and Larry Brooks reading him in the Post. He will be totally missed by the hockey-loving people of New York and throughout the NHL. So my condolences to his family. And I didn't know. We only communicated in an email a little bit. But I read him faithfully. I was one of his fans, and he will be missed, Larry Brooks.
Well said, Bob. Well said. Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay, brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this basketball season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right.